Yeah, old school. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, this ain't for everybody. Some of y'all need to hear this. I know you're in the trenches fighting, but check it out. I'm gonna put it down like this so I can help the saints understand. Everything you're going through is all part of the master plan. Or what? You thought cause you got saved everything was gonna be peaches and cream? You better wake up, son. Don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream. Faith without works is dead. Read your Bible, you know what it says. He who don't work don't eat. Blackers don't get fed. Yeah, Jesus said he who puts his hands to the plow looks back the same ain't fit. Some of y'all ain't been in the trenches 5 minutes and you about ready to quit. I ain't mad at ya, I'm just hitting you with the real. If you died for me and I was still tripping, now how you think that make you feel? Check this out, deep game, this here's deep. Some of y'all ain't sawing nothing but you started trying to reach. But unto him who is able to possess your fathers by his glory. Struggles might be part of your testimony, but it ain't the end of the story. Now upon this was prophesied way back in the day. Choir, sing your hook right here and see if the church can relate.
I know we can make it. Oh, we can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Work it out. Work it out. Yeah, he'll work it out. I know we can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yeah.
Thinking not strange, the fiery trials were to try you. You say, why you? But your church say, what would Jesus do? Why you asking if he ain't trying to do what he's saying? He told you he was going to have tribulations, but you thought he was playing. 1 minute you're telling how good God is and can't nobody beat the talk. The next minute you're backsliding so fast, it's like you're moonwalking. Oh yeah, I'm preaching to myself because I ain't no better. It ain't like I've been following his every word, obeying it to the letter. But we soldiers, we got to remember that. Regroup, stay on point. Yeah, bow down, confess, repent, stay humble, let him anoint. It ain't easy as I thought it was. I'd be lying if I told you that. But it showed up getting better all the time. Trust me, that's the fact. Ain't nothing we going through that can't be handled. God put that on his son. Like they say, you can shout now if you want to, cause the battle's already won. So while you're going through the valley, don't even trip. You're gonna be on top. Choir, sing the hook line one more again. This time you don't stop.
I know we can make it. We can.
Welcome, everyone. I just had to give a minute to Big Boy upstairs, because I know we're going to make it, too, So I hope wherever you are, wherever you might be, you're having a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day, and the health is good. And I want to take the time to personally thank all my listeners for listening to this show. We know you could be somewhere doing something else, but you're taking time out of your day to listen to us, and we appreciate that, and we're definitely grateful, and we're definitely not going to disappoint. We have a great guest, some great music, so sit back, let the air conditioner on, turn it on, as I like to say, turn the air conditioner on and let the windows down, so you can put your ears on some of this great music. Today we have Mr. Bill Abernathy. So give me one little minute here. Let me see if his plane done landed, Mr. Abernathy, are you with us?
I believe I have landed. Lamont, how you doing?
I'm blessed, man. Fantastic, man. Thanks for coming through and chatting with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. I will have to tell you that you had mentioned letting down the windows and turning on the air conditioner. It's 21 degrees in Kansas City today, so yeah, that's not happening. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm non-compliant from the beginning, man. Yeah.
Hey, man, well, it's all right, man. I understand. I understand how that could be too, but it's one of the little silly things I like to say to get people tuned in. Make them pay attention, because sometimes people got their eyes open, but they still asleep.
Well, I thought maybe I'm supposed to take down my windows, and then I thought, no, I think I'll ask first. So it's good you cleared that up for me. Yeah.
All right, man. That was a good one. That was a good one. So, man, tell us a little bit about you, Bill. Where you come from, man? How you doing, man? Where you come from, Bill?
Well, I'm doing great, Lamont. Thanks for asking. I'm live in Kansas City, Missouri. I've lived here pretty much my whole life, and live in the world-famous Kansas City Market area. And I had a moment this morning, man. I got up, and I'm kind of one of those early bird types, right? And I got up and went to make my coffee, and my coffee maker broke. And
Wow.
It was then that I realized the value of living where I live, because I walked a half a block to the coffee shop and got my coffee even though my machinery wasn't working. So, yeah, but I live in Kansas City. I've been here my whole life, was born and raised here, went to school here, did my corporate gig for the longest time, right here based out of Kansas City. And a little over a year ago, I retired from the corporate world and started focusing a little bit more on music. I've been doing music. I did it a bunch when I was a kid, but picked it back up in 2014 and came out with a string of different albums and projects since then. And really I'm enjoying the ride, man. I'm just living the dream, right? So getting to hang out and make some music and talk to folks like you. This is my first interview of 2022, so I've been looking forward to it.
Well, bless up for that one. Bless up for that one, man. You know, so the show will be available to everybody worldwide at the beginning of this first year, man. So, again, I thank you for coming through. You know, it's always good for me to talk to solid guys. You know, I'm from Texas, man, so, you know, we come from a different pace. So I got a lot of family in Kansas as well.
Yeah. I've been in Texas a lot. I was through Texas, Houston, and Austin on my last tour. That was before COVID. But I like Texas. I've got some pretty good stories about Texas. So.
Well, I just like the food from down there, man. You know, California is a little different, man. You know, the food out here looks pretty, but it doesn't taste so good. You know, the food down there, it look good and it tastes like it's supposed to. You know, a tomato tastes like a tomato. You know, out here, you know, it's grown so fast to feed so many people, and it's just a whole different situation. But anyway, I won't talk about food unless I do my food. But Bill, you said you started playing music early on in life and kid. I mean, did your parents do music, play music?
Yeah, I had a musical family, and they were very involved. I started when I was little, and they were very involved in church and church music and all that. And I was in a couple of church groups that went all over the United States and played all over the place and did all kinds of stuff. And I started doing that when I was about 12 or 13. And then that kind of evolved through school, through high school and college. And, you know, I played kind of all over the Midwest and did a few big shows and that kind of thing. It was fun. And then when I was 19 or so, I had to set that aside for a time and heal up some vocal problems that I had, and set it aside for a really long time, and did the whole corporate gig after that for 43 and a half years. And then in 2014, I came back to music and looked in my drawer where I had written, different ideas and concepts and some songs over all those years, and thought, I wonder if there's a market, if anybody's interested in hearing this kind of music. And so went in and made an album, and it kind of took off. And we had a couple of pretty good songs on there that people really enjoyed listening to, and then followed that up with another and another and another. And then in 2001, we released an EP that I recorded during quarantine, which was an event, really. But an EP of 4 songs that's titled "Who Are You, Who Am I?" And so that's my latest work that I've got out. And right now, I'm in the process of getting back into the studio and recording the next project. So exciting times, just trying to work through the changes and the challenges, that things have thrown at us here with our friend, this COVID. So trying to get through it.
I know. I was talking to one of my other film producer buddies a little bit earlier today, And then we was talking about this whole music thing because, the part of what I do is, the music thing as well. That because of this COVID thing is making people become more creative, especially how they get heard. And I was telling them out here, the old theaters, the old drive-ins that we used to go to when we were kids. I'm seeing a lot of them coming back, and a lot of tours, a lot of artists are utilizing those venues for streaming events.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've been impressed with the entire industry, really, during all the quarantine and all the stuff that we go through. But the live streaming thing, I thought was very, very cool, and how folks learned quickly to utilize that technology, get themselves out, and kind of stay in touch with their fans and get their music out there. And pretty impressive, very impressive stuff.
You hit on a point there, Bill, that I've had a lot of guests, and I deal with a lot of artists from the late 40s, early 50s, that era that not really computer literate, and they find it real challenging to get with the technology, and some of them don't even want to embrace it, but I'm like, in a few more years, you won't even be able to buy gas unless you know something about some type of technology. So,
yeah, exactly.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that learning curve? Have you always been computer lit, or is it something that you had to pick up?
Yeah, no, it's kind of what I did in my corporate gig. So, computers have always been fun for me. And so to embrace different and new technologies, is something that I kind of enjoy doing. I like figuring it out, and then figuring out how to use it to do what I want to do. I don't even know how many live stream concerts I did. It was in the hundreds, I'm sure. But it was great, and it was really what we had to work with at the time, right? So it was either that or kind of disappear. So I kind of embraced the live streaming thing and did shows for different radio stations and stuff all over the world. Speaking of embracing technology, I got asked to do a show for this radio station out of Australia. And I thought, this is cool, man, because, it's Australia and they play my music quite a bit there. And I thought, well, this is great, and they want me, man, we want you on prime time, Friday night, it's going to be great. We're going to have thousands of people online, blah, 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 blah. And I said, man, I can't wait. I just love to do it. And then I remembered that there's a bit of a time difference there between Kansas City and Melbourne. So I ended up doing a 2-hour concert that started at 6 o'clock in the morning here in Kansas City to get to Melbourne during prime time. So, yeah, I can embrace the technology, but sometimes I just forget to do the math, man. Yeah.
No, man, it's just fantastic to even hear that you say that, because I remember at the time when we didn't have the internet and we had the music stores on every other corner, and it took us weeks to send some music across the pond, and it was just a whole different time. Now you could send a whole CD in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah. No, the technology's great for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and it caused a lot of people in major record companies to lose their jobs, because now a lot of the A&R departments don't exist anymore, because if you don't have a lot of views and a lot of hits and a lot of likes, they're not really looking for you anyway.
Yeah, that's a challenge. I was actually listening to one of your previous interviews where you kind of got off into that, and I think that's unfortunate, that in today's world, your presence on social media and all that has so much to do with, how many people will actually, stop and listen to what you're doing. I kind of, maybe I'm a little bit old school in this way. I kind of go with the quality of the product, and if run across somebody and I like what they're doing, I don't care how many likes they get, but it's part of the world today, social media and using the web to get your music out there is part of the gig, so you have to embrace it.
Right.
But I think it's somewhat unfortunate that a lot of the bigger record companies and stuff, that's really their gig. If you don't have 5 million followers, they're really not interested in you. That's a little tough. So
it's a It's definitely a blessing and a curse because, like you said, it's a lot of up and coming artists that it gives them the ability to get the music out there. But then again, with that, they also have to have some social networking happening for people to even know that they're there. But then there's a lot of artists that's not really computer literate that are solid dynamite artists. I mean, fantastic artists that go unnoticed because of that. So I understand.
Yeah, I have thoughts about that. I mean, I'm not completely computer illiterate, but I also think that one of the things that artists need to do today, in today's world, is understand their limitations, right? So I'm a singer-songwriter. That's what I do, and I produce music. And as far as marketing and social media and all that, I do a bit, but there are folks out there that's what they do, and that's their expertise. And I've always been a fan of let people do what they do best. And I work with different management companies, MTS Management, and some other folks along the way to do the radio promo and all that stuff, and the social media company that takes care of that stuff for me. So I could look at it one or two ways, right? It costs me a bit, but it's helping the economy all the way through. And secondly, it's really not my forte, and I can get really, really bored with social media really, really fast. And so the best thing for me, anyway, is to get out of the way, let folks do what they do, and it's worked out pretty well for me.
Well, that's a jewel within itself. You got to, first of all, let people do what they do, and then you have to have some understanding of people doing what they do. And then the third part that you left out was people really have to understand this is the music business. It's not the music play, because a lot of artists go out there and they don't really have a clear understanding of what they want to do and how they want to do it. And they have to have that understanding before they can put those other pieces in place that you just spoke of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's one of the challenges is to find your audience, right? So, my music is not going to be top 40, just done. I understand that, right? But to find your audience and to find your listening base is really a challenge in today's world. When there's a couple of 100,000 new songs released every day across the globe, and how do you fit into that, and how do you point your music in the right direction, and how do you get it to the ears of the people that you think may like it? And it's tough. It's tough, and that's where using some other third party options and folks that do that for a living. That's where there's a lot of value to that.
I quit every day, Bill, and I start back the next day. So what's my problem?
Don't we all? Don't we all? Right? Yeah. Don't we all?
Well, Bill, listen. Let's do this, man. Let's let our listeners put their ears on some of your music, man. We got a few of your songs queued up here. Let me see. More Than Meets the Eye, 1,000 Wild Horses, and Who Are You and Who Am I? So what should we give them first?
It depends on what you want. The first single that we released from this EP was the More Than Meets the Eye song, and it's got a bit of an edge to it. We were talking about social media. It was the number one most liked, posted, shared, blah 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 social media song that I've ever had, and it's got a bit of a political tint to it, and I wrote it during quarantine when, it seemed like all of the information that we were getting was changing literally by the minute. And we couldn't really get a whole lot of clarity on what was going on in the COVID world. So that's a good one to start with. Yeah. Huh?
Well, do we have clarity now, Bill?
No. I was. I'm unfortunately. I'm unfortunately a bit of a news junkie, and we got no clarity.
Hey man, look, Bill, don't say that, man. Don't say that. I'm gonna tell you why, man. Some kids told me the other day. They said, "You know how you tell when you're getting old?" And I said, "How can you tell?" They said, "'Cause you guys just look at the news all the time."
Well, yeah, that's probably more true than I would like for it to be. But I do have rules about that. Actually, I have rules about when I watch the news. In that I change the station every 15 minutes because the news stations are only gonna. They're going to play to their base, just like, I'm going to play my music to my base, right? That's what they're going to do. And so in order to get a little bit more of a broad look at what's going on, you really just can't lock and load on one particular station or one particular publication. You just really have to invest some time. And it's unfortunate, that's the case, but that's the case. So that's my rule. I do watch the news, but I do change the channel regularly.
Yeah, well, you said 15 minutes, and I was trying to figure out, is that a global rule? Because my best friend, Millie Jackson, who does a lot of country stuff as well, she has a 15-minute rule. If somebody hasn't said anything about a gig or some type of work in 15 minutes, she's off the phone. So I was just wondering, what's 15 minutes is a global rule to turn stuff on?
Yeah. I think I get that just from the bias and stuff that goes on in media, and I just can't take it, So I do like to know, or at least try to pretend that I know what's going on. So I found that just changing every 15 minutes is pretty decent. It's a pretty good way to go about it. So. And it comes back from, a little bit of my corporate world. A lot of what I did in the corporate world was talk and do presentations and speak to, different conferences and that kind of thing. And if you can't make your point in 15 minutes, chances are you don't know what you're talking about. So, I'm a 15-minute guy.
15-minute rule, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of my songs are 15 minutes long. That makes it a little bit brutal, but that was a joke. But
all right, then, everyone, you know the rules. Let the windows down, turn the air conditioner up, put your ears on this. Mr. Bill Abernathy and More Than Meets the Eye.
There's more to this than meets the eye. Decisions based on biased lies, determining who lives and dies, whose freedoms are lost, whose justice is blind. There's so much more to this than meets the eye. Happening around us. It's so real, so very treasonous. When the truths we hold so dear are cast into shadow. The rose-colored glasses adopted by the masses shade the truth, compelling all just to follow. The facts is there. you know that there's more to this than meets the eye? Decisions based on biased lies determine who lives and dies, whose freedoms are lost, whose justice is blind. There's more to this than meets the eye. When leaders dictate sacrifice, when freedom's lost to compromise, there's so much more to this than meets the eye. The pure misinformation, the mental masturbation, where the darkened heads propagate their agendas. The facts are all negotiable, their talking points disposable, all designed just to keep you fooled till this November. Don't you know that there's more to this than meets the eye? Decisions based on biased lies, determining who lives and dies, whose freedoms are lost, whose justice is blind. There's more to this than meets the eye. When leaders mandate sacrifice, when freedom's lost to compromise, there's so much more to this than meets the eye. There's more to this than meets the eye. When leaders mandate your sacrifice, when your freedom is lost to their compromise, there's so much more to this, so much more to this, so much more to this than meets the eye.
I am Envy. With your host, the mind pattern. I'm independent, but a minute. I'm feeling fine all the time. On my pride, I am indeed. Alicia Rain at the wave.
Yes, we're back with Mr. Bill Abernathy, and we just got to listen to More Than Meets the Eye. And I've heard some of those political things you were speaking of in that song.
Yeah, like I said, I wrote that, kind of during quarantine when, everything was all really kind of a mess, and, we couldn't get anything together, and, the election was coming, and, all that. And so, I had a few things in there that really kind of frustrated me. So I figured, what the heck, let's get out the pen and paper and see what we can do. So we came up with a tune that's kind of a rocker. So, yeah.
Yeah, because every day I kind of feel like we're basically pawns while the people in Washington and everywhere else play games, and we just have to deal with whatever they get through with. But I was reading here.
Interestingly enough, on my new record, there is a song that's called "A Pawn in a Player's Game." Just saying. So
yeah.
I'll send you credits on that. How's that? Yeah.
How about that? Because that's right. Hey, look, that's right on point too, boy. Because I'm like, man, look, we almost paying $5 a gallon for gas out here. The people don't care because they don't even buy gas.
Yeah.
They say they're concerned, but how you going to be concerned about me if you don't do the same things that I do,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my things. I think that a lot of times in society, not just necessarily in politics, but in society in general, we tend to like to lump people into groups, right? And we want to call them this or that. You want to call them left or right or Democrat or Republican or whatever, right? And I have kind of a thing where I like to call people by their name, not necessarily by the box that society's decided to put them in. So I would like to see our society go back to that. Let's just call people by their names. There's a thought.
Exactly. Bill, interesting. I'm reading here, you're a lyrics first guy, so does that mean exactly you come up with the lyrics first and then you build a track around the lyrics?
Yeah, that is the case, and it's almost always that way. That's kind of how I write, and I've always written that way. I think that, at least for me, the magic of music is what the words say, right? And if you have a message and you have something that you want to say, I think, at least from my process, is I figure out how I want to say that first, and then the song itself will kind of lead you into what genre you want to use. You know, that's one of the really cool things about being a singer-songwriter is you can really pick a genre. You know, so More Than ECI, for example, that's kind of in a rock genre, right, with some screaming guitars and, you know, and all that stuff. And, you know, I yell and scream and growl and all that. But that's what, in my opinion, that's what that song needed to get the attention that other songs that you're gonna play later, you're gonna find they're a little bit different, you know, from a genre standpoint. So it's really, to me, it's the message of the song, and the magic of the song is the lyrics. And then when you take those lyrics and you find the musical intonations and genres and stuff that really accentuate what you have to say, that's kind of the magic of songwriting to me. So, yeah, I do write the lyrics first in all my songs.
Is that one of the things that you say, would you say or consider unique about your music? Is your approach?
No, I wouldn't say it's unique. It's just different, you know. And I'm not the only guy, you know, that does that. But you know, a lot of musicians will do it the other way. You know, they'll come up with a really cool lick or a really cool, you know, vibe, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, this is cool." You know, I know a lot of the you know, the great rock bands of all time. The Rolling Stones, that's how they wrote. You know, they'd come up with a lick, they'd come up with a hook, you know, and then, you know, while they were playing the hook, somebody'd sit down and start writing some lyrics that they thought went with the hook. Well, it's the same thing with me, only backwards. I just start with the lyrics, and then I find the hooks and all that stuff later. So.
No, I understand. You know, it's just that I don't get to talk to too many people that do it your way. You know, so it's always good to hear. You know, there's always another way. You know what I mean? But your way exactly. It makes sense. You know, your way, but it seems like the other way, people, like you said, they come up with the hook or the vibe, and then they sit down and write that way.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong. I know that's the whole thing. I think it's just up to, you know, the artist and you know, what works for you. And, you know, it just so happens to me, I'm a storyteller, effectively, right? So to me, you know, I come up with the story and what I want to say and, you know, roughly how I want to say it. And then I'll start playing around with the music to use the music itself to accentuate the story. So just a different way to go about it. No right or wrong. It's just my thing.
So, Bill, when did you decide the guitar was your instrument?
When I was little, I took piano lessons. That was I think everybody does that, right? And you know, I took some piano lessons and got to where, you know, I could plunk around on it pretty decent, you know, but I couldn't find, probably because of my skill level, realistically, I just couldn't seem to be able to get a lot of feeling into a song with a piano. And again, you know, obviously some of the great artists of all time do, but I couldn't, and it was, you know, again, probably based on my skill level. And at that time, you know, in my youth, you know, that was kind of the 60s, early 70s folk rock stuff, you know, and it was all about the guitar and all about, you know, how how the artist played the guitars and all that. And so my dad got me a guitar, and I just found that to me that was the instrument that worked best for me. And though I still
did you have long hair, Bill?
Man, I'll have to tell you, there was a time in the 70s when I had a huge afro. It was all natural. I had really curly hair when I was a kid, and I had this great big huge afro. And I can remember when I take my football helmet off, it looked like a big sponge and just boing boing boing, but I had the long hair and the bell bottom pants and and all that stuff. Yeah, I was a hippie. I think I still am at heart. Mother Nature has decided I don't need long hair anymore. As a matter of fact, she's decided that I don't need a lot of hair anymore. But it is what it is. You adjust.
Yeah. I was thinking, because I was hearing your story, about the piano, and it was making me think back. You said, well, we all started that way, and it's so very true. I started out on the piano too, but then it wasn't too many guys out there, that I kind of wanted to be like, Little Richard and some of them other guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't cool. I didn't really want to be like that. So anyway, I ended up going through the horn thing, and I ended up with the saxophone.
Yeah, good choice.
I ended up with the saxophone for many years, and till I found out about the microphone, and then I had to go do something different. But
yeah. Well, another bad thing about the piano, right, is that when you're young, right, and you're playing music, you obviously want to impress the girls, right? I mean, that's part of it.
That was the main motivation for me getting rid of the saxophone and grabbing the microphone.
Well, there you go. Well, if you're trying to play music and impress a girl, it's pretty hard to drag a piano with you all the time,
That's true. That's true.
I found early on that I can put an acoustic guitar in a case, and I'm pretty well free to go anywhere and play for anybody I wanted. So that may have had a little something to do with me playing the guitar. Just saying. Yeah.
Just a little bit, I understand. But it's so cool and inviting to see a guy, sitting on a park bench that actually can play, and the ladies just walking by. I got it, the whole look thing.
Yeah. Some people call it a guitar, and other people call it a chick magnet. It just depends on what your points are, right?
Exactly. So, Bill, look, what we got here, 1,000 Wild Horses, and who are you and who am I? What do you think?
Yeah, so I would say let's go with the 1,000 Wild Horses. It's a song that I actually didn't write it. It was written by another artist named Gary Burr, and I fell in love with it the first time that I heard it. Knew that at some point I would record it and put it on one of my projects. But it's a great song. Lyrically, it's a fantastic song. It talks about the baggage that we all carry with us, things that have happened in our past, and, bad relationships, or, addiction problems, or, whatever. And it talks about those. It draws an analogy to all of those things being like 1,000 wild horses running behind you, hell-bent on running you down. And but what Gary did lyrically with this song is really, really, really spectacular. And I absolutely love it. And this will be a great example of why I like being a singer-songwriter, because this is a little bit different genre than More Than Meets the Eye. So this is what I would call pure Americana music.
And how many guitars do you have, Bill?
12. I had 12.
Wait, look, we're going to get back to the names after we listen to the song.
Okay.
1,000 Wild Horses, everybody. Mr. Bill Abernathy. Let the windows down, turn the air conditioner up, and put your ear on this.
Just when I thought the demons I fought were dead and gone, straight out of the blue, someone like you comes along, and I don't have to turn and look over my shoulder. I already know from the sun there's 1,000 wild horses thundering behind me, hell-bent on running me down. I thought I was fast, but the sins of my past were faster still. And I'm wasting my time trying to leave them behind, 'cause I never will. You see, one drink too many, one kiss too deep, and I feel a little shake in the pound. That's 1,000 wild horses running behind me, hell-bent on running me down. Each one is branded, each one is mine, each one's a darkness I can't deny. I know they're coming, there's no place to hide. I'm gonna get run down, or I'm gonna ride. Right now they're just a big cloud of dust, but pretty soon I'm gonna do something stupid like I tend to do, and I let them loose. So if you're thinking that maybe you're the one who could save me, baby, this ain't no merry-go-round. It's 1,000 wild horses thundering behind me, hell-bent on running me down. It's 1,000 wild horses thundering behind me, hell-bent on running me down.
Bill Abernathy, everybody. That was a beautiful song.
Yeah, thank you. Gary did a great job writing that song. You know, I think we can all relate to it, right? Because we've all got things from our past that tend to follow us around a little bit. And he just likens them. He just likens them to 1,000 wild horses. There's a passage in that song that I absolutely love, and I can certainly relate to it, right? Where it just says that right now they're just a big cloud of dust, but pretty soon I'm going to do something stupid like I tend to do, and I let them loose. So if you're thinking that maybe you're the one who could save me, baby, this ain't no merry-go-round. It's 1,000 wild horses thundering behind me, hell-bent on running me down. I can certainly relate to that one, right?
Absolutely. I could hear that song in a film somewhere.
That's a great song, yeah. It's a great song. He did a good job writing that song. Yeah.
So Bill, do you tour with a band or you go out by yourself?
It depends. It depends. So bands are expensive, as you well know. And the last tour that I went on, I opened the tour with a band show and full band, and then I toured solo, which is really my favorite thing to do because you can tell the stories, and you don't have to stick so hard to the script, right, to the set list, but I do both, but I really prefer actually to play solo for a couple of reasons. The freedom that it gives me to go anywhere, really, and to play just about any place. And, and then in today's world, it's expensive. It's expensive to tour with a band. So, I kind of do a mix. How's that? Yeah.
I thought you were just going to make it simple, just says less headaches, but okay.
Well, there's that, but, I'm fortunate that the guys that I play with are all studio guys, and
right.
For the most part, they're jazz guys, jazz musicians, and they're all a little bit like me. I always like to tell people I didn't get the gray in my beard from a bottle. We've all kind of been around and a little bit have been there, done that. So, that experience tends to minimize the drama. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And like the people that was around me, they said if you could play jazz, you can pretty much play anything.
Yeah, I have to tell the guys when we go in the studio that just remember who you're playing with now. So you got to dumb it down.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah, they play anything. So Bill, if would you put your music in any particular genre or no?
I wouldn't, but you do. It's part of the business. You alluded to you can probably hear my pup, or my pup Orf has now decided it's time to wake up and play a bit. I don't. I kind of stick in the singer-songwriter thing because that gives you the flexibility to pretty much play and anything that you want to play, and still be really, really flexible. I know that there's a lot of different genres, and we've had stuff, tunes off the various records that have been played, on picket stations, all the way from rock. I won an award one time for rock album thing, and we've got some songs that are kind of ease into the blues world a little bit. We've got some songs that are folk songs. So my one big number one hit that I had was actually on folk music. I think that when you try to take an artist and lock them in a box, right, you're really limiting what they can do, and so I try to avoid that. But there's this one genre that they dreamed up that they call Americana, and nobody knows what that means, right? But it tends to be folks that run in different directions, and they might play a rock song and then a country song and then a folk song and then and so Americana is what most of the publications and stuff call my music, and I think it's because they just can't figure out where to put it. So,
well, they just put it in the mixing bowl and mix it up. It's okay.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay, but that's all right too, though. I noticed a lot of artists too. Well, they get comfortable dealing with one production or say a producer. And how do you feel about working with other producers?
Oh, we do. I've had one guy that I've worked with on every one of my projects, but we bring in people, And when you're working with different musicians and different engineers, right, you can find that as long as you're open-minded, right, they're going to have some input. They're going to have some ideas. And I was playing this, we were doing these in the studio recording things, right, and just making videos of us, recording stuff in the studio. And one of the guys, which unfortunately he's now passed away, but he was a bass guy, and he had traveled all over the world and toured with a bunch of people, and he was a jazz cat, and but he toured playing country music, right, because that's evidently where he could make money. And he came in and we were playing, and he goes, "Hey, Bill, why don't you do this? Why don't we try this? Why don't we do this?" He was a really cool guy, and I ended up using a lot of what he came up with, in the finished product because it was just different. You know, he had different ideas that I would have. So I think that working with other people, working with other musicians, producers, engineers, it's always good. Everybody has different ideas. They're not always good, you know. And as the artist, I always like to tell them, yeah, I'm open to anything, but I've got, you know, last right of refusal for sure, right? But, yeah, no, I think it's great, you know. Because different people, they have different experiences, you know, and they're going to hear things different ways, you know, like on 1,000 Wild Horses. This is an odd thing, right? We'd made the record, right? It was done, and I was playing it for this small group of friends that I have that I always have them listen to my music before I put it out. What do you guys think of this? Where should it go? You know, what, you know, who should I push this to? That kind of thing, right? And one of the guys, he's actually the guy that does my photography work, right, said, Bill, that song really needs a mandolin. Well, I'd never put a mandolin on any of my songs, right? But I thought, why not? You know, so we go back in the studio, you know, and we bring a guy in, from a local guy that's really, really good, and he played, and I thought, that's perfect, you know. So you never know where those ideas are going to come from. It may not even become They may not even come from a musician. I mean, this guy takes pictures. That's like his job, right? But he said, I really hear a mandolin in that song, and sure enough, there it is. So
that's great too. And I guess the jewel in that whole thing is to, you know, to stay open, because as an artist, if you stay open, you could find things that you didn't know that was there and have the ability to adapt. And I don't know why, you know, some artists, you know, they get hung up on production situations and the producer don't allow them to work other producers. But I think that is totally limiting, you know, the artist in every sense of the word.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's value to both sides, right? It depends on who you are. So I don't necessarily, this is terrible really from a business standpoint, but I don't necessarily go in to make hits. Not my thing, right? I've had a few, right? But I don't go in to make a hit, because when you go in to make a hit, there's a certain formula, right, that is followed from, you know, not only the writing, but the production and the whole 9 yards, right? And that's why a lot of our hits today sound a hell of a lot alike, right? Because it's a formula. It's what people are used to, and it's what people are going to hear, and that's what people are going to buy. So if that's what your thing, right, then it's good to work with the same people that could generate that same sound, right, for you all the time. But that's not my thing. So, you know, nothing wrong with it. People do it all the time and make a hell of a lot more money doing it than I do, right? But it's just not my thing. So.
Yeah, but it only works if it works, because it don't have to work.
But yeah, like I said, you got to get the right people, right?
Exactly.
Get the right people and then get out of the way. Yeah.
Well, who are you and who am I? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, so this is the song that is very, very personal to me. You know, it's that singer-songwriter thing where, you know, you reach into your chest and you pull out your heart and you hang it out here and let everybody take shots at it, right? That's what this song is all about, and it's about my journey and discovery to find out who I am really musically, right? And it's really about a dream. I've had a recurring dream my whole life, and this song is written pretty much about that dream, where a muse, if you would, or, you know, an angel or a vision, whatever, leads me to a place that I revisit different emotional times in my life, right? Different times when, you know, emotions ran heavy, when, you know, I got angry, or my heart was broken, or, you know, pick an emotion, right? And I don't know who that person is in this dream. And so I sat down and wrote this song. It's called Who Are You and Who Am I? Because I can't figure out who they are, but they are telling me who I am. And it's really all about music for me, and it's all about where the music lives, and how emotions that men typically, I'll do a stereotypical statement here, men typically are not so good with emotions, right? Where those emotions live, well, that's fact, right? So, where do those emotions live, and how can I visit those places to get inspiration and to understand why in some situations in life I respond the way that I do? And that's really what Who Are You, Who Am I is all about. And it is really what I call my wheelhouse. It's 12-string guitars, and it's my thing. This is my favorite type of music that I like to play. So.
All right. Well, we're going to do what we do, ladies and gentlemen. You know the rules. Turn the air conditioner up, let the windows down, put your ear on this, Mr. Bill Abernathy. And who are you and who am I?
The moment we believe that we can find a passage through the shadows of our mind to mysteries that lay hidden from Abernathy, everybody. It's another great song, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, Bill, this has been a great time I was able to spend with you. I definitely appreciate you, but we're out of time. It always goes by fast when you're having a great conversation.
Yeah, same with me. Man. So thank you very much for having me on, and I had really enjoyed our discussion today.
Well, let everybody know where they can catch up with you, where they can go get your music and all that good stuff.
Probably the best place to go. You can start at my website, which is just billabernathy.com. And, there you can see a little bit more about me and some of the projects and all those different things. And, of course, all the links to all the different places, with Amazon and iTunes and Spotify and, all the other places that music is available out there today. So, but go to my website and check me out. And you can find, where I live on social media and all those places on there as well. So I would appreciate y'all doing that.
All right. Thank you again, man. I really appreciate you, man. And continued success, man. I love what you do. Keep on doing what you're doing and keep on keeping it real.
That I shall, and I will continue living the dream, man.
Absolutely. That's the main thing. And for all my listeners, everybody that joined the show late, it'll be ready for you in about 2 seconds in its entirety worldwide, and if you're not sure where you can hear the show, you know what I'm going to say. Ask your mama, ask your daddy, ask the man across the street, the guy at the gas station, your milkman, or the guy at the market. Somebody will be able to tell you where they can hear the show so you don't have no excuse, all right? Other than that, we'll see you next week, same time. You know what I mean? So come back. Always worldmovement.com. You can get everything right there. And we love you much. And we'll see you guys next week, same time. Peace.
Just when I thought the demons I fought were dead and gone, straight out of the blue, someone like you comes along, and I don't have to turn and look over my shoulder. I already know from the song there's 1,000 wild horses thundering behind me. but the sins of my past were faster still. And I'm wasting my time trying to leave them behind, 'cause I never will. You see, one drink too many, one kiss too deep, and I feel a little shake in the pound. That's 1,000 wild horses running behind me, hell-bent on running me down. Each one is branded, each one is mine, each one's a darkness I can't deny. I know they're coming, there's no place to hide. I'm gonna get run down, or I'm gonna ride. Right now they're just a big cloud of dust, but pretty soon I'm gonna do something stupid like I tend to do, and I let them loose. So if you're thinking that maybe you're the one who could save me, baby, this ain't no merry-go-round. It's 1,000 wild horses running behind me, hell-bent on running me down. It's 1,000 wild